What's up?
Yeah.
We are back. I was hearing an echo. Did you guys hear an echo?
No.
Okay, good. Then it was
I
just
just
me.
fell off the planet. Sorry.
Like we say all the time, no one said we were professionals.
Thank
No.
God
Anyhow.
you're wearing pants.
Production value at its finest.
Oh, we're supposed to wear pants?
Pants.
Nah. Hey, all right. Anyhow, we're back. Episode number 276.
76.
That's crazy.
276. We're going to be doing Avoiding the Sophomore Slump. Second albums that we like better than the first albums. But before we get into that, we're going to get into our normal, stuff. And of course, we'll do our picks of the week with our new video.
I've been waiting all week for that riff.
All right, so we'll start with Kev. Kev, you got any shout outs, anything you need to talk about before we get into it?
Yeah, shout out to my sister. Of course, a lot of you know my sister has been dealing with pancreatic cancer, and I stopped over today. She's finally home, so I was able to get in, talk to her, and God, she's looking good. She's feeling good. Been about a year now, but I was happy, very happy. It really made my day to see she was very upbeat and positive and looks good. Then I wanted to show this album here. If you guys know about these 3D covers coming out, they were put out by Seven Matter. Remember the Dio covers that were the lenticular covers?
Yeah,
this is way better. The whole album feel is so different about this. It has I don't know what they use for the 3D effect, but this whole album is like that. But it's kind of, you had to pre-order this, but a lot of the live stuff is coming out here shortly too that they've been working on. And
right on. That album is out. Is now.
Yeah. But there's some live material coming out from Meister, different shows.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 albums I saw coming out. Yeah.
Well, that one, this Dystopia was part of that. Well, a different select few that are doing the 3D, but they're doing like, I don't know how many albums they're doing, but that was one of them. If you come across it, pick it up. Amazing.
Right on. Steve, got anything?
Nope, nothing for me.
Nothing.
The guitar player from, oh my gosh, I know in my head, and as soon as I started saying it, I forgot his name. We lost another guitar player this week from Golden Earring.
George
Clemens.
Yep, he passed away this week, so that's another one bites the dust, which is
a formal. I remember reading in Circus magazine, and he said that his formal statement to the world was, "We're going to be the next Led Zeppelin, so get used to it." And I just thought, wow. And I read that in Circus magazine back when I had a subscription to that, and I just thought, man, that's a bold statement. But those first couple Golden Earrings were great. That live album was great. So, but man, my dad
they were like a lot of bands around that area. They were for that certain 10-year period from 72 to 82, 83, whatever. I mean, they just put out some good stuff.
Yeah. My dad's right though. The longer you live, the less friends you have. And man, they seem to be dropping like flies here. At least the people we know. I ran into 2 people that one didn't know who the Beatles were and one who had never heard of Led Zeppelin. So I guess that's a sign of old age or just bad parenting, one of the two.
Yeah, but, it was about a year ago. They were talking to some pop singer girl who's kind of pop rock. Gosh, I can't remember her name for the life of me because I'm old, so I can't remember anybody's names anymore. But in any case, they asked her what she thought of Eddie Van Halen. She's like, "Who?"
Wow. Yeah. Come on, man. Yeah. That's bad parenting, I think. Anyway.
Billy, gosh, why can't I remember her name?
Billie Eilish?
There you go, Billie Eilish.
That's the one. I didn't know who Eddie Van Halen was, and her brother's a pretty serviceable guitar player. Whatever.
Yeah, I was watching the interview. She's like, "Who?" And I was like, "Oh, great."
One of my secret indulgences. I kind of like her music. It's really kind of haunting and sultry, but anyhow.
Right on. Well, you're last. You got any shout outs before we get into it, John?
No, I just talked to Henry. They just got back from a massive pentagram show in Brooklyn with Acid Bath. Evidently, a good time was had by all. And from the video I saw, the crowd looked insane. It was like 4,000 pre-sold tickets, and I'm sure they were trying to shoehorn everybody everywhere. But
I'm really hoping Acid Bath plays here at some point. I'd love to see them live.
Yeah, I actually saw them back. I think it was with Exhorter and somebody else. I can't remember, but many moons. I mean, they haven't played a show in what, 30 years?
Since the late 90s.
Yeah. So, yeah, see him if you can. Crazy. What's that wild? What's that wild fest up there in Kentucky? Like a 4-day massive fest, and Steve up there by you, Louder Than Life. Is that?
Yeah, that guy. He throws a bunch of festivals. The guy that does that one.
Well, they're playing up there because I just talked to Allie, one of the kids, and they're all like super stoked because they're going to get to see Acid Bath, and I'm a little kind of jealous, but anyway.
I thought they played at Hell's Heroes.
Mm-mm.
No, maybe I thought when they were. Oh well.
Mm-mm.
Right on. Well, let's get into this.
Dude, I'm going to unfurl the hair in just every time. Anyway, okay, 2 picks of the week, and I'm just going to get these out of the way because I know one of them, I'm going to stand on Scott's toes. But talking about, and this is indeed part of the sophomore slump avoidance. My rock pick of the week is Aerosmith, Get Your Wings. I like it way better than the first album. I thought the first album is good. This album is just better, in my opinion. And it was the third album that I purchased in my life, not the Japanese pressing, but an original. Actually, it was a UK pressing. So there's my rock pick of the week. Aerosmith, Get Your Wings, Avoiding the Sophomore Slump. And this is another pick of the that everybody needs in their collection. Overkill, Taking Over. I can't think of this kind of what started them on their upward trend, I think. But didn't the band kind of fall apart, and they were kind of circulating through members, and Rat Skates left soon thereafter, and but they've had the same lineup now for what, 25 years, except for a drummer.
Minus a drummer, yeah, they've gone through several drummers.
But anyway, so those are my picks of the week: Aerosmith, Get Your Wings, and Overkill, Taking Over. Both albums, of course, avoiding the sophomore slump, which is what our subject for the day is.
Right on. So that was our pick of the week. Someone told me that's too long, but it's only 5 seconds long.
No, it's
how much
not
shorter can we make it?
In fact, I want to hear the whole song.
Right
at
on.
some point.
There's actually a big festival that just happened this past weekend too. In Ohio, I didn't get to go. I would have loved to have, but man, I saw some of the video footage, and man, I really think that Reign of Glory is just a fantastic band, and they tore it up. What's the singer's name? Slipping my mind at the moment. Sang for Yngwie Malmsteen.
That's a weird name. Slipping my mind.
Yeah, that's his name. Anyhow, he was awesome. But yeah, and then also was nice to see the comeback of. See, I got the album right here of Worldview, who did the show and announced their new album coming out. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to that new album. That was my favorite album. My number one album the year that came out.
Yeah, this Worldview album is great, but I've heard a few tracks of the new one. It's better. It's even better than that one.
Or is it just George?
No, it's all the same members.
Okay, good.
Yep, it's Ray Parra on vocals. Yep, Todd Libby on bass, and the dude that was in Holy Soldier in the '80s on drums, Terry Russell. Damn, I remember that, but I couldn't remember Billie Eilish.
Oh well.
Right on. All right. Well, anyhow, let's get into it. We'll just go around the curves, and if I knew that somebody would pick some of the ones that I picked, so I picked a few extras just in case. But yeah, we'll just start with Kevin, and then we'll go around clockwise. So, Sophomore Slump. These are albums that we think are better than the band's debut albums.
Yep. And I got to go with Primal Fear and their Jaws of Death. Jaws of Death.
Oh, dude, that is a scorcher.
I mean, the first one for me, it was kind of it did have some Priest influence on it, definitely, and their music does. But this one, I think, is where they really started to forge their sound. And for many years, this was not out on vinyl; it was only out on CD. And finally came out. What was it on Nuclear Blaster? Probably, I don't know. It was about 8-9 years ago. These were released out. But yeah, I think this is definitely better than their first one by far. I mean, it had some.
I actually a Hellion on the cover.
Yeah, it's kind of like the slap in the face. I actually bought a copy of that on CD in Germany. That's like you said, it's like the holographic cover, or it's like a 3D foil cover, but it's a big thick book, and it actually has a live CD in it.
Yeah,
but it's a German pressing.
But yeah, anyway, more Sophomore Slump here.
Yep,
I can agree with that one. So I mean, maybe what we should do is that when someone shows them, we give a thumbs up or a thumbs down if we agree. But I'm a thumbs up on that one.
Yep, two thumbs up for me. That's
kind of a weird one with that band. I kind of feel like it's a weird band for me. I like their music. Don't get me wrong. I've got like 10 of their albums on CD. Their whole album is good though. There's not like a lot of albums have a couple really good songs that like the high points that you remember, and their albums are like just really good. It sounds like a weird complaint, but I don't remember a lot of the tracks because everything is really good on them.
Well, now they got another new lineup change. They got rid, or 3 of the members left. And then they added a drummer, new guitarist, and I think a new.
As long as Ralph Sheepers is there, I'm good with Primal Fear.
But to me, that I think this new album coming out is going to be interesting. I don't know. It's just, of the tracks I've heard, I don't know what I'm going to say about it yet. But you got to hear the whole album first.
Are they a jawbreaker?
So I figured I would start with.
I hope not. I know what that song's about.
I figured I would start with a little bit of Old Tomato, and
Awesome.
You get a thumbs up from me because I agree on that one.
Yeah,
I know that you don't like the first album, so
yeah.
But yeah, this is the one that got me into Ultimatum, so I got to go with that one. But yeah,
that album is getting remastered and a new vinyl full pressing as well.
Has
that
it
old
already
pressing
done twice?
Nope, only once.
Yeah, for those listening, it's Puppet of Destruction from Ultimatum. We should probably say what we're showing.
Yeah, we should, because
we all have a bad habit of doing that. So
yep. But yeah, the Puppet is, our first album was just basically all our early demos slapped together and put on a record because the label that we got signed to didn't have the money for us to re-record it. So back then you had to actually pay for a studio. You couldn't do it in your own little digital studio. So it was all. But in any case, cool. 2 thumbs up for me. Anybody else?
I haven't heard it, but I'm just going to assume that it's got to be better than the first album.
Right on. Well, you're up, John.
Scott's recommendation to me on the first, he sent me a cassette of the first album, and he said, my recommendation is just to leave the shrink wrap on it.
Oh,
and don't listen to it.
I sent him the Fatal Delay demo, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's some people, though, that's their favorite.
I know there's some people that love that thing, and it sells, when they pop up on eBay, man, they sell for ridiculous amounts of money.
Okay, we had talked about this before the show. Devastation, Signs of Life. I love the first record. It's got great songs, but that actually, it just has bad production. And this thing needs to be reissued, and maybe we can bend Rodney Dunsmore's ear just a little bit. I was giving it some my best college try today. I didn't realize that Kerry Crafton was the recording sound engineer on this. So I learned a little something as I dove deep in it. I've been friends with these guys since the early or late 80s, early 90s. And yes, this thing goes for big bucks. If you're looking for an American pressing, it's upwards of $130 to $140. You might be able to find a trashed out not a Japanese, but a Spanish vinyl or one from Russia, but it's going to be gamey and it's $80 plus shipping. But Devastation, Signs of Life.
That's
Anybody?
a good choice. That was one of my choices, so definitely a thumbs up. So that was one of the only ones we talked about before the show. That's why I pulled my copy out. So
Okay.
I don't think anybody's gonna argue with this.
I don't have any Devastation, but what I have heard, I love.
Oh my gosh, that's a definite. You need to get.
Yeah. I'll tell you, right after we talked, I went and looked for some. It's pricey.
Yeah,
they're not cheap.
Vinyl, it is. Now you can get I've got extra copies of the picture disc of Idolatry. If you need a copy of that, I can certainly just send you one. But yeah, if you're gonna get Signs of Life on vinyl, you better be ready to remortgage the house.
All right. Well, my pick is I don't think will be too controversial, but the first album is great. A lot of these bands I love, and I love their first album. Like you showed the Aerosmith record, that's one of the ones I pulled, but I won't show it now. But I love the first Aerosmith album, but obviously Get Your Wings was a big step up, and I think this was a big step up for this band too.
I almost pulled that one, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
can't argue with that.
I mean, the double bass assault on the title track alone is, worth the price of admission here. But there's not a bad song on here. I mean, every song on here is considered a classic. Overkill, Stay Clean, I Won't Pay Your Price, I'll Be Your Sister, Capricorn, No Class, Damage Case, Tear You Down, Metropolis, and Limb from Limb. So yeah, it's just
that's kind of a weird one with Motorhead, because the first album they released, which was later released as On Parole, I think is better than their first 3 records that were officially released. But yeah, I came close to pulling that one, but I was pretty sure a couple people would, so I didn't.
Hey, something I might just caution real briefly. Make sure that if I see a lot of people saying I'm going to look for Devastation, make sure you're looking for the Devastation from Texas, because there is a Devastation from Chicago that is a serviceable death metal band, and I have some of their stuff too. But you can get very confused if you're looking for killer Texas thrash. So yes, Devastation from Corpus Christi, not from Chicago, Illinois.
Right on. We got a new lot of comments here, and I'm sorry I was talking and not paying attention. So, do you remember Crushing the Deceiver? I listened to their self-titled album yesterday, and it still sounds good. It's been a long time since I listened to them.
That, Scott?
I did the layout. I didn't do the cover art, but yes, they are they call themselves a thrash band. They were like they're from California, but to me they were more of a like a hardcore death metal band. But yeah, they were a good band. They're no longer together, and they're now called Molar, and they're doing grindcore, I believe. Actually, I think I sent John the Molar shirt, and a couple things from Molar.
That is correct.
Yep.
And
What's
a
up,
bumper sticker that looks
George?
like Hulkamania.
We're supposed to have George on the show this week. We had a topic, but then we had a guest, so I had to cancel with George, and then our guest canceled. So it just didn't work out. Oh, and we got Ron on here. What's up, Ron?
Right.
So yeah, catching up with the comments here. But you're up, Kev.
All right, going back to 72 with Tyranny and Mutation, number 2 album in
I love that record.
Blue Oyster Cult catalog. The first one was good, but they brought it to a new level with this one, of course, and then they followed it up with Secret Treaties. And to me, I define these as metal. I don't care what anybody says. To me, these second and third Blue Oyster Cults are metal albums. And I saw them in 76, and they did most of they did first 3 albums, and fantastic. They did it all in a laser show, but yeah, definitely a step up from their first one.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I thought the first one was good too. I really like it a lot, but I think much like Aerosmith.
I don't know if I could choose one that I like better than the others. But...
Yeah, I just think they stepped up a little bit. You're up, Steve.
So, some people don't even consider this the band's second record, but I almost pulled both their second records. But this is from the original iteration of the band. We got Projects in the Jungle from Pantera. This is actually my favorite of the first 4 records. I like this better than Power Metal too, and a lot of people would disagree with that. But, I don't know. There was just some quite a bit of magic in this one, which is funny because the first one was Metal Magic. But
I see what you did there.
The Jungle Man is just a great record. You really start to hear Diamond Daryl at this point. He hadn't changed his name to Dimebag yet, but if you haven't checked out these early Panteras, do not expect their 90s output.
Absolutely.
They were definitely more of a glam band at this point, but it's fantastic. I love these first 4 records.
Yeah, don't dish them. I mean, I love that early stuff from Pantera the best. I just picked up another one about a month ago. I can't remember which one it was, but I'm only missing, I think, Power Metal now.
And you can buy the unofficials for like $25, and they sound a lot of I've heard some of the originals. Some of these sound better than the originals do.
Yep.
So definitely worth grabbing though if you're into that 80s sound.
Yeah, gets a thumbs up for me too. I like one better than the first album.
I'm gonna just keep my thumb right here. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it. But I think, well, you know what? I think it's better than the first one.
Yeah,
that's what it is. That's all you got. It's also got to be.
So a reluctant thumbs up on that.
Another somebody's metal band. Funny enough,
somebody said those Panteras are going to get a real reissue. I don't know. I hear it all the time, but I've never seen them.
I don't know why.
They've been saying that for 30 years.
Yeah,
and they should.
I haven't heard anything about that in last year or so.
And Kevin,
they should do that because they're getting they're just losing so much money to bootlegs.
Yeah,
I mean, the ones they're putting out now is Metal Magic. I mean, that was their label back then in the early days.
Well, and I guess it depends on the family because that was the brothers' label. So
yeah,
they didn't want to put it out because they didn't even like talking about those records. But I can see why the family may want to do it at this point.
I never could understand why they didn't like Power Metal though. That wasn't that far off from what they became.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good crossover record, and I know where you can get one, Kevin, so hit me up after the show. Okay, I'm going to keep it in the Kevin 80s, 70s.
Oh,
whatever.
that's a good choice.
Oh, yeah.
Kansas.
I didn't even think of that one.
Song for America. And it's signed by Robbie Steinhardt and Rich Williams. But man, I love this record, and it has a lot of I reminisce about this, and the Lamplight Symphony is one of my favorite tracks for a mellow one. I remember the first time I ever listened to it. I'm down in the basement in Nebraska and watching it snow outside and this is the perfect soundtrack for that. But Kansas, Song for America, yes or no?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay. Awesome.
I think this is another obvious choice too, but new wave of British heavy metal band, Saxon. Their
Ooh,
first
I didn't
album,
even think about that.
79 was okay, but Wheels of Steel was just like night and day. They went from they definitely became more of a metal band with this album. Although I people argue with me all the time online, which I don't even bother arguing anymore, is that they're just a hard rock band. So regardless, Saxon, Wheels of Steel.
Is that an original there?
Yeah, it is an original pressing.
The one I have is
I just happen to have a copy sitting here, so
that's the is that the new one that has the live album on it too?
Yeah, this has Live at Donington 1980 with it.
Yeah,
right on.
This one is the back and black edition.
Yeah, this is on the Career label. I've had this thing for decades.
Yeah, I've got an original too. I just bought that for the live album.
I didn't think anybody would disagree on that one. Yeah, I want that one for the live album too, but I don't want to pay $40 for it. So if I ever find one cheaper, maybe I'll grab it. You're up, Kev.
All right. I'm going to go across the pond here, and I'm going to go into India here with a band called Against Evil. This is their second release, All Hail the King. This is kind of where I found the band. Just straightforward, true heavy metal. I mean, they don't sway far from the classic, like, let's say, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden sound, but they just add a little bit more, I think, intense guitars on these. They're kind of hard to get because there's only limited editions out on these. I think they only press like 100. But their first one, which was normal on CD, is now out on vinyl. But if you've never heard Against Evil, check them out. I mean, a lot, especially the track Enemy of the, can't even read it, it's so small, but definitely a step up from Fatal Assault. But they have 4 releases out. Go check them out. I mean, they're from India. India's really got a good metal scene over there. I mean, a lot of good bands, not only traditional or thrash, but good black metal, death metal, everything over there.
Right on, you're up, Steve.
So I got turned on to this band, I think sophomore, junior year of high school. A guy in class, they weren't on MTV yet. Nobody really knew who they were, but somebody in class passed me a copy of their debut cassette, and I had never heard anything like it. I fell in love with it. And then their second album came out. They added more prog to the sound, and it just became an all-time favorite. I went to the midnight release for this when it came out in '96, but I'm going to go with Tool, Anima. Man, this thing just blew me away when it came out. I've probably listened to this more than just about any record in the collection. This was always in my car for a good 3 or 4 years there, and played it pretty regularly. And just got the nostalgia factor behind it too. But you can't go wrong with this.
You said that was Tool, right?
Yeah, Anima from Tool.
I can't give it a thumbs up or a thumb down. Don't know it well enough to.
I'm surprised with all the, as much as you like prog, that you never, well, you weren't listening to too much prog in '96, though, were you?
I think Tool is really, it's an acquired taste, I think, in my opinion. I do have some Tool. I don't play a lot of it, but I mean, I don't know. It's just,
I think it's a moment in time thing. I think if somebody played me some Tool right now, I may not get into it, but you know, like I said, that got handed to me at 94. Was it 94? When the Undertow came out, and like I said, a buddy handed that to me. I didn't know what it was, and I was just, I had never heard anything like it, and I was just really into it. And
you got one thumbs up right there.
It just kind of grew from there. So
I think
you got to be in the mood for it.
one here.
I think Tool is kind of like typo negative. In fact, Henry mentioned it today. He said he doesn't really go for listening to typo negative, but in the right circumstances, it just sounds good. And I think Tool is a lot like that. I mean, Lateralis is a punishing record, and that Anima is, it was a definite, production-wise, it was a step up, and it was so doggone heavy compared to the first one. The first one was almost like weird for being weird's sake.
Yeah.
And anyway, by the way, TV Bleak, that Dim Mak, I almost pulled that intercepting fist. That thing is freaking heinous.
That is one of my favorite band names, Dim Mak. It's right up there with Mekong Delta. Those are just such perfect names.
Yep.
For bands.
Well, I'm gonna go with you, Scott, on the kind of what propelled them into superstardom, heavy metal wise. Judas Priest, Sad Wings of Destiny. Boy, what a meteoric rise from Rock-a-Rolla. And there's nothing wrong with Rock-a-Rolla. I really like it. In fact,
so I think you're gonna get 4 thumbs up here, easy.
4 absolute thumbs up. I see 4 different versions. I have several different versions of this, even on the Japanese pressing.
Yeah.
But wow, I mean, this is an epic record.
This is where they become Judas Priest.
Victim of changes.
They stepped up the heaviness on the second album from
right, and I don't know who got in their heads and said, "Hey, we need to step it up," but I'm glad they did, because this thing is that's an island record right there, I think.
Well, the first one, they were copying a lot of Black Sabbath and Uriah Heep, whereas with that one, it was just completely them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, I've read several biographies on them. From what I understood, a lot of those songs for Sad Wings of Destiny were already written when Rock-a-Rolla came out. It was more the label thought it was too heavy and they didn't want those songs on there. So other than, but anyhow, I'm gonna go with this one because Ron also said it, but the second Barren Cross album, Rock for the King, was good. I liked it a lot when it first came out, but this is just night and day better. First of all, the production is better. It's got Don Dino Elefante, the Kansas vocalist, producing it. It's just a heavier record. They got their own sound that doesn't sound like It doesn't sound like some Iron Maiden ripoff anymore. So yeah, I love this album. This is actually this is a repressing. I have an original pressing too, but I just grabbed this repressing on purple wax. So anyhow, yeah. A rock solid slab of metal mixing elements of Iron Maiden, Queensryche, and Armored Saint. Quality songwriting, hooky anthems, and big performances from the angrymetalguy.com. That's the review on the sticker. That's my choice, Barren Cross. I figured that would be one that most people wouldn't pull. So, but I do love this band. Seen them in concert. Actually, I shared the stage with them a bunch of times. So, cool band, nice guys.
All right.
Someone asked about UFO. Man, I thought about UFO, but their second album isn't that much different than their first album. So
Yeah,
I couldn't go with UFO either on that.
I like those first two UFO albums, but most people don't. You know,
they could almost be a double album.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Sweet's another one.
Album version of it. I have a German 2-for-1. That's
I have one of those too.
Perfect together. Yeah.
Well, between UFO 1 and 2, you got the live album as well in there. You know, I mean,
well, and the live album's funny because they're playing the early songs, but they're playing them almost like later UFO would sound. It's kind of an interesting live album.
Yep. You're up, Kev.
All right, I'm gonna have to go with, and definitely they stepped it up on this, but this Havoc time is up.
Ooh, that's a good one.
This was when Pete Weber joined on the band, and I mean, I just absolutely love Pete Weber's drumming. I mean, it's just so technical. I mean, he brought that more of a technical thrash sound to it, I think, but still retain that old school sound, you know. And but yeah, I remember when I got this. I think it was at their show in Fargo. And they all kind of this one is actually autographed, but it was when I was doing my radio show at the time. I had done a bunch of interviews with them, and they politely.
It's hard to argue with Burn. Burn is what kind of was like just catapulted them right back into the scene. I'm like, who's gonna hang with Merciless Death and Toxic Holocaust and Warbringer? Oh, it would be Havoc. It was just like it was like
as good as they are on album, they're so much heavier live.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And watching Pete Weber play live, the dude, he's like insane. He's like feet are like just, and he's just like looking around the room like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a lot of instrumental or a lot of videos out on YouTube of some of his drumming clinics, and
like a playthrough type
that
thing.
is just nuts.
Yeah, he's amazing, and for a diminutive guy, he has such a massive sound.
Yeah.
What you got, Steve?
So my next one's going to be pretty controversial for a lot of people because a lot of people consider their first album to be one of the greatest death metal albums of all time. And it's a good album. I think this album is better. I'm going to go with Blessed Are the Sick from Morbid Angel. I absolutely love this album from beginning to end. And the song Fall from Grace has one of the greatest metal intros of all time. This is the only Morbid Angel I pull out. And unfortunately, after this, I think I Covenant with after this. It was okay. And I think they just completely fell off after this. But, man, this is just one of those perfect albums. If you haven't listened to this in a long time, give it a spin. It's definitely worth pulling out and giving a little bit of love.
I just listened to the entire Industrial box set, the entire 4-album set. All the way through.
That too. I was cleaning the garage and I put those tracks in there. And man, that's a real controversy right there. But you know what? There's some inherent genius in that. I'm not gonna say that I advocate for it.
You have to disconnect. There's no way if you don't disconnect from those first 2 Morbid Angel albums. If you can disconnect it and you enjoy Industrial, they're really well done. But yeah.
Well,
I'm not talking about the actual album. I'm talking about the remixes, the industrial remixes.
I have a little more of the backstory because Steph knows Dave Vincent from the Jenna Tortures days, and so that adds to the allure of the industrial stuff. But I kind of agree with you. Are we a thumbs up on Steve's pick?
Well, for me,
a lot of people like Altars of Madness better, and I get it. That's a great record. I just think their technical ability went up with that one. I'll always love that one.
I think they define their sound with Altars of Madness, but that second one, Blessed Are the Sick, is pretty sick.
I'm just kind of in the middle. I just don't know their music enough to like it or hate it. So
Okay, well, let's see if you can swing the fence this
Man,
way. How about that?
that's a
Endless
double
Pain
thumbs
was
up.
great, but Pleasure to Kill.
I think that's the best thing they ever released.
Yeah,
You're not
you
going to
might
get
be
an
right.
argument from me.
yeah.
It certainly wasn't Renewal.
As a matter of fact, didn't I send you a copy of that, Scott? I think I sent you that record.
So
I have
Creator,
I have an
Pleasure to
original
Kill,
copy, so it might have been you who sent it to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I sent that to you.
Is this unanimous? Like the
Oh yeah.
the Sad Wings?
I think you got 8 thumbs up on that.
Yeah, I think we did. Okay, go Scott.
Ron said, I really don't like Morbid Angel, but I'll agree that the intro riff of To Fall from Grace. Yeah. Cool. Let me see. All right, next up, let's see. I've still got a pile up here, so I grabbed a bunch, but we'll only do 10. You guys have already pulled two that I had, so about Nevermore, Politics of Ecstasy.
I didn't even think about Nevermore.
Heads above the first album, in my opinion. I mean, the first album was good, but this is great. And this is actually the album I discovered him on. Someone back in the day, I was still trading. What was this? The mid '90s. We were still trading cassette tapes, and someone sent me a cassette tape, and it had on the 7 Tongues of God, and I was just like, jaw to the ground. That song is so amazing, and the guitar solo on that thing is just like mind-boggling. So yeah, this is a great album. I love this. I still love it to this day. So still their best. I'm not going to say it's. Some people think Sanctuary was better. I just think Sanctuary is different. And I actually thought about pulling Sanctuary, but I don't know that I think the second album is better.
Sanctuary's the vocals on Sanctuary's first album are the best vocals he ever did. So
yeah, that's just all that high pitched.
Yeah.
Stuff was crazy, and he did return and do some of that stuff on here and other albums. But yeah, anyhow, I really love this album. So Nevermore. So there you go. Anybody else disagree?
Nope.
I don't disagree. In fact, I was introduced to that to Nevermore through that record too, and saw him live with Destiny's End and Iced Earth.
I saw that too, and there was nobody there. It was great.
Yeah, no, there was a ton of people there, but anyway, yeah, they were impressive. Very
was
impressive.
that a weeknight? I still have I stole one of the posters off the wall from it. I still have the poster, but yeah, there was nobody. It was on a weeknight, and it was just a bad night. Nobody was there, so maybe 50 people in the club. Too bad
because they missed that. That was an epic show. The whole
that was the one time I met James Rivera and shook his hand. He was a super nice guy.
Yeah.
All right, you're up, Kev.
I'm going to go to our neighbors to the north with Corrosive and their Toxic Apocalypse. This thing is so good. I mean, this thing is it rips from beginning to end. First one, I don't think it retains the full intensity as this one. And they do have 4 albums out, but they only have 3 on vinyl. But their latest one is not like this one. I mean, but this one just is an absolute ripper. They're out on CDN label. And I think they're one of the better, newer,
modern thrash bands
in the last 10 years.
I agree. I like that album a lot too. I don't know if it's better than the first because I'm not as familiar with them as but others. But yeah, it's a good album.
This thing is, pick it up. It rips.
Welcome, Goldilocks. Okay, you're up, Steve.
So I'm going to go with one of my favorite albums of the 2010s. This is my introduction to the band, and I found this. They were on their 4th album when I found this one. And I couldn't buy their other 3 albums fast enough. This is just like a perfect moment in time, though. Hissingen Blues from Graveyard. This is just one of those perfect records. A little bit of hard rock, a little bit of psychedelic, a little bit of desert there, a little bit of stoner. It's just, man, it doesn't get much better than this. This is just one of those perfect albums. And every time I pull it out, I listen to it like 10 or 12 times before it goes back into the collection. They broke up for a couple years there and got back together, and they're still putting out some good stuff. So anything from this band is worth checking out, but this is a must-have right here.
I thought they had I thought I read they were ready to put out some new material.
Yeah, I think they have something coming out pretty soon.
Yeah. I do. I have some of the early My Graveyard stuff, and it is good stuff.
Aren't they Swedish? Where
are they from? Yeah, they're from Gothenburg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right on.
I have two controversial picks, but they're in the same realm, and they're both named 2. What do you think of Van Halen 2 and Led Zeppelin 2?
Led Zeppelin were on my list. I didn't pull it. But...
Van Halen I almost pulled, but I did not.
So I'm not the only one. I love the first Van Halen. I love it. Yeah. But the number 2, there's just something about it. And I know that we've had this discussion where they recorded all that stuff for the first 3 records basically in one session. But I have a hard time overlooking Van Halen 2. And then I really have a hard time overlooking Led Zeppelin 2.
I think they stepped it up on Led Zeppelin 2 as well. I mean,
I agree with Led Zeppelin 2. I prefer Van Halen 1 though. I almost never pull out Van Halen 2 anymore.
You should.
Oh, I have recently.
Okay, so we got a thumbs up on Zeppelin,
and I'll go right here on.
Okay, fair enough.
Van Halen 2. Ooh, that's a good one. Tourniquet Psychosurgery. Good comment. Oh, are you about to pull it?
Oh, he's about to show it.
No, but this one, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but to me, I think this band stepped it up big
not
time.
Controversial at all.
Isn't Rust in Peace the? Oh no, that's right.
Man, we talked. You did your albums that define thrash metal, and this was like number 2 or 3 on the list, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
I don't disagree with you, Scott. I think that is better than the first one.
Oh, I mean, I like the songs on the first album. I thought that there were some great songs, very much in the same vein of Kill 'Em All. The problem is the production is so freaking bad. It's sometimes bad production like adds to the appeal. Like the first couple Venom albums or the first couple Raven albums, they're bad production, but they kind of adds because it's got that rawness. But the first Megadeth is rough to listen to. Where this one here is just
songs too. Wake Up Dead and The Conjuring.
Oh yeah,
take me to man, just perfect songs. But yeah,
Peace Sells as well. I even like their cover of I Ain't Superstitious. I know a lot of people didn't like that cover, but I thought it was a pretty cool cover. So.
I didn't pull that one because for the same reason I didn't pull Exodus, Pleasures of the Flesh. I just think it's better than the first one, and I didn't want to start a riot.
You wouldn't have got an argument from me. I think it's better too. I know most people disagree with me on that, but I think the songwriting was better, the musicianship was better, and the vocals were better.
Amen. Okay. Good call. I'm glad I'm in good company.
Well, we're getting a lot of agreements from that one too. So, yeah. Right. All right. What you got, Kev?
I have another Canadian band. Brian, rock and roll.
Yeah, I thought about them.
The Canadian, and of course,
I was going to say, is that the first album or the first and the second album, or and the?
Oh, they're Canadian, U.S. pressing. So, but it's I remember when this first came out, and it got massive radio play down here in Minnesota quite a bit. You know, being neighbors to the north, but. I mean, we played this. I mean, they do what was that? 24 Rock and Roll Machine, of course. I mean, their classic song, and I mean, this is just I don't know. It's just a step up, I think, from their first. I do love the first, but Rock and Roll Machine, I think, is where they really took off.
Yep, I agree. Thumbs up for me, man. Anybody else?
No, thumbs up for me. I love that record.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you have the one with Little Texas Shaker on it?
I don't know.
That's the Canadian version.
The Canadian version, yeah. Yeah,
we're getting a lot of people agreeing with us, though.
The U.S. version is better. So the U.S. version is not the same as the Canadian version.
Yeah, it's similar to the first AC/DC record here in the United States. It's a comp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. I don't want to screw anybody's choices up. Hopefully I won't, but we can still show it later. But I didn't even think about Rush. But yeah, I think
that either.
Man,
Fly By Night.
I'm gonna.
I don't know if I agree
wholeheartedly agree with Kevin Garland.
Actually, I do agree with that. I like the first
one here.
That is a killer record, starting with Bytor and the Snow Dog. But I digress.
All right, you're up, Steve.
So most people probably don't even realize this is the band's second record because this was the record that people first heard this band. Their first album was Soul Crusher, and you kind of heard the sound that they were going to come to later. This, you kind of get the sound. Their third album was even better, and it's the one where they blew up with. But Make Them Die Slowly from White Zombie. I still love this one. I remember when I ran across the CD and the artwork was so cool that I had to buy it, and I was hooked. And then Devil's Music Volume 1 came out, and it took it to the stratosphere. It's just one of those perfect albums, and it's kind of a genre defining. I mean, they created their own sound in a way that a lot of bands didn't. But if you guys haven't checked out Make Them Die Slowly, it's not as poppy as Devil's Music would be, but man, you really hear the development. And when you check out their singles and EPs, it's even more, because they started off as a noise rock band and slowly progressed until they got to the groove metal sound that they would have with this one. So Make Them Die Slowly from White Zombie.
I'm not a huge White Zombie fan. I do like White Zombie, but I agree on that one too.
If you haven't seen them live, and especially in the early days, that's what's going to make you. I worked the show and was a runner for the band in Houston, and they were really pleasant to be around. Well, I mean, Shawnee Salt was very pleasant to be around,
Yeah.
and they.
I was just going to say she's not hard to watch on stage.
Yeah, and they just sounded killer, man, live. I mean, and that's kind of what I mean. I'm not going to run out and buy all their stuff, but I can't deny that they were great, especially on that era.
Yeah,
you're up.
Okay, no controversy here. I would not think.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that.
Bolt Thrower,
That's a good one.
War Master,
and that's still my favorite from them.
In War There Is No Law, I love that record. It's great. It established Bolt Thrower as Bolt Thrower, but this thing is punishing, man.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna throw that out there, I know these guys get lumped into they're just a Bolt Thrower worship band, Frozen Soul, from right here in Dallas, but their second album is absolutely punishing, just like War Master. So, like I said, some people get offended if you say, "Well, gosh, you sound like Bolt Thrower." I would be happy. Someone said my band sounded like Bolt Thrower.
Well, people don't realize a lot of the bands, that's what they're going for. They want to go back to that sound. You know what I mean?
Of course.
People say the same thing with Gruesome. They sound like Death. That was their whole goal when they started the band. You know what I mean? Or Orchid sounds like Black Sabbath. That's why they called themselves Orchid. You know?
Yeah, shocking, right?
You're Chevy.
That's true. Another female bass player in there. 2 female bass players in a row.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
What's up, Marcus? Welcome to the show.
4 is my favorite from them. Something about 4, they slowed the sound down and almost made it heavier than the 2 albums before that. It's such a great band, though.
Some of it's probably also like nostalgia, because that War Master was the one I've heard first. So it's, yeah. And then I went backwards and heard the other one. I still liked it, but yeah. Oh, I'm up, huh? All right. So someone said, and I didn't pull this one. I thought about it, but Shamgar said Believer Sanity Obscure.
I thought about that one.
I thought about it too, but I don't know that I think
I don't know if I like it as I like
better.
Yeah.
I like them. I like them both.
Agree with that. Sanity Obscure was an absolute blistering slab of thrash.
Yep, but so was Extraction from Mortality. That's the thing. I think
it was.
I think they're like perfect bookends. So I don't know that it's.
Here's the funny thing. At the time, I didn't get Sanity Obscure because they started introducing the prog stuff into it. And now I love that element of the tech side of it. But at the time, I thought it kind of annoyed me compared to the first one. So.
I saw them at the Crystal Cathedral with Mikey Bonaventura, a guitarist from Attacks, an old late 80s Orange County, California thrash band. And he picked me up at the airport at the John Wayne International. And he said, "We're going to church." And I'm like, what are we doing? And he sat me down on the front row because this guy had never been to church in his life. And here we are at Robert Schuller's Crystal Cathedral, and it was Believer. And it was stunning because they had the lady up there singing the ethereal vocals of Dearest Irae, and that's all you saw, just this light shining up on the wall. And then they came out and just hair spinning and guitars mosh. It was just wow.
Yep. Again, that was one I thought about, and this one, another one I thought about was Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I didn't think about.
But again, those 2 albums to me are bookends. They're like they just belong together. It's so I don't know. All right, my next pick. This is I don't think anybody's going to have any controversy over this one either because the first album was good, but this album is great.
Ooh, I forgot about
Ooh.
that.
Yeah, The Spectre Within from Fates Warning. I've been listening to a lot of Fates Warning recently because I've been working on a bunch of Fates Warning. Anybody who cares, by the way, I'm just going to do a selfish plug for, well, it's not me, it's not my label, but the Fates Warning Live Over Europe is getting a reissue, remastered. Rob Caldwell remastered it, and it sounds amazing. And it's coming out as a 2 CD package. But also, the first John Ark solo album is coming out, which is, I mean, it sounds like this, but a little more progressive. So yeah, it's called A Twist of Fate, and it's coming out on vinyl for the first time. As well, both of Jim Mattheos' solo records are getting a vinyl release for the first time ever. And Carcass John, if you haven't heard the very first, you need to check it out. I think you, of all people, will probably dig it because it's got a very unique vibe. It's done with guitars, but there's cellos and violins. There's no bass or drums or anything like that. So it's a very unique sounding album. But yeah, anyhow, yeah, this album to me, this is the album I discovered him on. So again, it might be some nostalgia for me because this is still my favorite Fates Warning record. But yeah, Spectre Within, I think, is just a brilliant record. And the follow-up, I think, is also equally as great. So, yeah, Fates Warning is my pick. So, anybody disagree?
No, I agree.
All right, you're up, Kev.
Thumbs up for me.
Yep, same.
I thought this was a bigger improvement. Their second album with Night of the Storm Rider. Of course, this is
No
with
argument for me.
On vocals.
John Greeley, right?
What's that?
John Greeley on vocals,
Greeley
right?
on
Oh, John Greeley, excuse me. And of course, right after this, of course, we had Burnt Offerings with Matt Barlow, where they really stepped it up. But I thought this was a bigger improvement from their first album. Of course, John Schaefer experimenting, and trying to find his sound. But definitely, if you're thinking Barlow-esque, no, this is not Barlow vocals, but it's just as good, but with a different style. I mean, I love both, but Barlow, I think, just added something more. But the second one is really better than the first, I think.
And they re-recorded that a couple years later with John Barlow on that triple LP they did.
Right.
So I don't know how many's everybody got left because
I've got a few.
I got a stat. I told you I pulled a million.
Yeah.
all right. Well, let's
I got a
just keep
couple,
going.
but not a whole lot.
Cool. You're up, Steve.
We can run over a little bit. This next one is not fair because the first album is almost a different entity in itself. And not only that, not only is this an amazing album, a lot of people consider this the best album of their 40-year career. Images and Words from Dream Theater.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually thought of that one too because I don't think they ever beat that album. I love a lot of their stuff, but not.
I like the follow-up a tiny bit better, but I also got into the band on the follow-up to this, so and went backwards and got into this one. I still love this one though; it's right there. They're kind of equal, and they've never sounded as good as they did on those two records. Unfortunately, I will be seeing them in a few weeks though, so really looking forward to that. But man, Images and Words is just one of those 10-star records.
Well, then if you haven't found it, we discussed our favorite live albums last week. You got to find that Dream Theater live at Marquee.
Oh, I have
that. Yeah, I have the CD. I have it on CD. I don't know. Was it ever released on vinyl?
No. But, well, I don't want to disappoint our poser friend down in Houston by not mentioning my favorite band in the world, Osric Tentacles. But the guitarist and brain trust of Osric Tentacles is Ed Wynn, and he put out a solo album about 5 years ago. Well, his second solo album is absolutely stunning.
I'll give you a thumbs up on that one already.
Yeah, and he's in co-tangent with Gray Vanderloo, who's with a band called Grace Rooms. He's a Dutch instrumentalist and does a ton of different stuff. But Tumbling Through the Floaty Verse by Ed Wynn is a stellar follow-up to his first one. But so I had that was my Osric Tentacles dig, but because all the Osric Tentacles records are equally as outstanding in my opinion.
Yeah, that's one of the bands I thought of too, and I was like, really?
Where do you even start? Because do you start with the cassettes, the original 6 cassettes, or do you start with, and do you include the live albums as an actual release and blah, blah, blah? So I just went to what I know, and that's Edwin, the guitarist and the guy that runs the whole show anyway. So there you go.
What about Def Leppard?
Their second album is definitely not as good as their first record.
No, I don't think
Nope.
so either.
I think it was a downhill slide for them. Each album they got worse. That's
I
my
do like
opinion.
their second album. Don't get me wrong, but the first one is just a perfect record.
Well, here's a newer band that I think they stepped it up. I love the first album. I thought it was fantastic, but then this one came out, and I think they blew it away. But this is Renouncement from Motivik. This
I thought about that.
This is just one of my favorite thrash albums of the last 10 years. I mean, this thing is so freaking good. It's unique. You can't say, oh, they're just an Exodus clone. They're Metallica. No, they sound like Motivik. They don't sound like anybody else. It's oddly enough, the album is named after a cover song. They did Renouncement, which is an old song from Betrayal. But man, they actually got the original Betrayal singer to come in and do guest vocals with not Ryan Jennings. Ryan, what's his name? Ryan. Dadgummit. Anyhow, Ryan and the original vocals
He's
came
probably
in.
in here listening to him. We can't think of his name.
Yeah. Anyhow, to me, this album is brilliant. It was in my I think it was in my top 2 for the year last year.
Yeah, right.
Something like that.
I can't remember. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyhow, great album. So if anybody doesn't know Motivik and you like thrash metal, that thing is brilliant. It's just so well done.
Kevin just mentioned this, so I'll show it real quick. Kevin in the comments.
Yep, there it is.
Dirk from Alice in Chains.
We're getting some Motivik comments here. Yep, you are right, Roebuck. That's right. It is Roebuck.
Yeah, okay.
I knew that, but I said someone else's name first, and I brain farted after that. All right, where are we? Kevin.
My only CD, I looked through my vinyl, I couldn't find it. I don't know what happened to it, but I had to go with the Scorpions and Fly to the Rainbow here, right after Lonesome Crow.
I think John's going to disagree on this one.
But I mean, this is kind of where I got into the band, this stuff here, and I kind of went back into Lonesome Crow. But this, after comparing it to, this is, I think, just a little bit better in my opinion, as far as being their second album. Lonesome Crow is good. I love it, but I just like Fly to the Rainbow a little bit better.
Nothing wrong with that.
You could almost call this an EP. They only had 7 tracks on it.
Yeah, but there were some of them were a little longer. So
yeah, I don't disagree that it was a great record. It is a great record, but is it better? I mean, I don't know, man. Lonesome Crow is on my monthly to-do list, and Fly to the Rainbow is like, oh yeah, maybe I should just check it out. That's just me.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean
that shirt
you're
that
wrong.
you're wearing is one of the 10 greatest records of all time.
Yep. Entrance, if Entrance was their second album, then you get no argument from me. I love Entrance.
So this next one, it was hard to. I'm surprised nobody's shown this. It was hard to pick because the first album from the band is one of the most important albums of all time. But I had to go with Paranoid.
Yeah,
I love the debut. I
you
will
mean
always
that?
love the debut. But man, even if you don't like hard rock and heavy metal, you probably know the lyrics to half of these songs. That's how big.
Yeah, I mean that album definitely was one to put him on the map. I mean,
yeah,
War Pigs and Paranoid and and what guitar player didn't start off playing Paranoid as one of the first songs?
Hand of Doom, Fairy Fur Boots. I mean, there's not a bad moment on this record, let alone a bad song. Had to pull this one. There was no way around it.
Somebody mentioned Testament. I agree that the New Order is better than Legacy. Sounds better.
I'm kind of in the middle on that one.
Well, I'll agree with whomever that was. How about this one?
Don't disagree. I'll put it that way.
Okay. How about this?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
Iron Jaw Cursed. This is light years ahead of their first album, and I really like their first album. Saw them live a half a dozen times. before they released this thing. And I just saw them recently at the Scott Shelby Bestial birthday. And I mean, you want to talk about a lineup: Iron Jaw, Rotting Corpse, Gamma Side, Beast of War, Perico. If you've never checked them out, check them out. Kind of like a tropical flavored death grind band. But man, they were so good that night. And maybe because it was a short set. But man, Iron Jaw Cursed, they definitely didn't have a slump.
Man, I can't decide which one I want to do next. I've got 4 left here, so and I know we're running out of time, but I'll just go with this one because it's next in the time. And this one,
Ooh, I didn't even think
this one's a little rough because I love the first album, but I really do think they stepped it up, music, production, everything else on here. Deliverance, Weapons Over Warfare. It's still, I got them on MTV exactly, and I think it was Lars Ulrich who picked the video for that song as one of his favorite tracks of the year that year. So because he was like a guest VJ or whatever it was on Headbangers Ball, and he played that track.
That thing rips.
It's still one of my favorite Deliverance albums, but I love the first album too. So it's kind of like the Iron Maiden discussion we had earlier. You know, those first 2 albums are bookends. That's kind of how I feel about the Deliverance, but it came to mind, so I thought I'd grab it because I was pretty sure nobody else would show it. Yeah, like Ron said, weapons, but only by a little bit. Exactly. Yeah, and you're getting some agreement on the Iron Jaw too.
Yeah. Well, Tony was there. Tony drove all the way from Indiana to see that show, and it was worth the drive, I think.
Right on. You're up again, Kev. You got something?
Well, I'm going back into the 70s again with some Pat Travers and Putting It Straight.
That's a good choice. I had it on my list too, but we can only do 10, so I'm glad you pulled it. Yeah, I definitely stepped it up on that one. I think that's a great album and a great record cover. I mean,
early Pat Travers, 70s Pat Travers, I mean, the hardest and heaviest of him was, of course, from the 70s. But this here, I mean, when I first heard this, I think it was, God, I can't remember how old I was, but I was at a friend's house, and he liked to play a lot of different stuff like groundhogs, trapeze, you know, a lot of the obscure stuff back in the early days. And I happened to hear this, and I really fell in love with it. But definitely not a sophomore slump here.
So my next is not only an amazing second album, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. I've probably talked about this album 100 times on this channel over the years. One of my favorite thrash records of all time. Schizophrenia from the
That's a good one. You get a thumbs up from me on that one for sure.
This is just
2 thumbs up.
I love the first record. I love the split that became before that. They're just raw and noise at that point. They hadn't really found a sound yet, and with this one they did, and it's just a perfect record. And funny enough, I've mentioned this before. I hated this the first time I heard it. It was just raw and aggressive, and it was underproduced. And now everything I used to hate about it's what I love about it. This is my favorite Sepultura record at this point. So.
Getting lots of good suggestions here. Keel, I'll agree with that one. Blood Rock, I definitely agree with. Blood Rock 2 is fantastic. Skid Row, Slave to the Grind. I like that album better.
On that one, I like both of those pretty equally.
Blood Rock?
No, the Slave to the Grind, and then
Dude, that thing, they were touring with Pantera, and they had to step up their game. In fact, I remember seeing them on Saturday Night Live, and I thought, they're going to burn this building down. That they were so good.
Right anyway, on. You're up.
Am I up,
John? Yep.
I've got a bunch of little ones, but how about that? How about Grand Funk, the Red Album?
The Red Album's brilliant.
I mean, I love On Time, but come on, man. In fact, they were released the same year. One was released in February, and then this was released in October. So it's their second record. But I love this record. If anybody starts to collect records, I always suggest they buy that. And and I forgot to pull. Did I not pull Robin Trower? Bridge of Sighs.
Believe you forgot to pull that one.
Bridge of Sighs, man. That was another one on my list. And then here, I'm just going to run through these real quick because we're done. Insect Warfare. I know nobody cares, but I do. Evolve from Obliteration. That was their second one. This is a killer band from Denver. This is called Of Feather and Bone. This album is called Bestial Hymns of Perversion. Their first album was it sounds like a Discharge album. It sounds like a Grinding Crust album, and they completely changed into a funeral. This is akin to the Blood Incantation stuff, and it just took one album to make the leap. It's pretty amazing. But anyhow,
right on. I'll show up my last few quickly too. How about this one, Steve? Anybody? Anvil. Dang, how did I forget Anvil? That's a big time.
Dude.
I almost pulled.
I did not forget Anvil.
There you go, Anvil. I love that. I mean, that's the album I discovered him on, but I love the first album because it's got such a Ted Nugent vibe to it.
Yeah, the first album's more 70s hard rock. This is where they kick.
Yeah, they hit their stride on that album. That one and the follow-up were just undeniably some of the best 80s albums. But how about this one? Speaking of guitar giants,
Frank Marino, of
almost pulled
course.
that too.
That was a huge jump too from
the first album was good, but it was obviously Jimi Hendrix worship. He kept these guitar skills, but
that one is
far better songwriting on it. Yeah, there's a lot of Hendrix influence, but it's just the songwriting is so much better. I mean, it's just, and I think it doesn't have. Let's see here. No, I don't think it had any hits on this one. But regardless, that I don't give a crap about hits, but cool artwork too. I always loved the artwork on this one. This is one of those albums that you put it on and you stare at it while you're listening to the music. Two more. I know you're not a big fan of this band, John, but this is one of my all-time.
That's a good one too.
This is probably still my favorite King's X record.
I actually listened to it because somebody mentioned that I should listen to it, so I did. I can't deny it's a good record. It's just not my cup of tea. I'd rather listen to Murder Construct's second album featuring members of Cattle Decapitation, but I digress.
And then the last one I pulled, this one, I don't know how many of you guys are well versed in this band's music, but their first album was good, straightforward metal from, I don't know, 1985 or 4 or something in that area. But the follow-up was just awesome. It still ranks as my favorite album from Bride. It pushes almost to the point of speed and thrash metal. So yeah, I absolutely love this album, and it's got some of my favorite songs in there. Metal Might, but Out for Blood, that song is worth the price of admission alone. It's a giant of a track. So do you have this one, Kev?
I do.
Yep, it's a great album. So there you go. Those are my last 3. So
those are a couple of good suggestions. Solitude Eternus.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Bias. Getting a lot of King's X love here too. I'm trying to keep up with.
Joe Satriani.
Ron Haggerty. That album has been reissued and it's on sale at boonsoverstock.com.
I got one left, and this is Vulture.
Oh dude,
yeah, that's a good one.
Is a ripper.
Man, killer speed metal. I mean, this is I love the cover, but their second one, for those who don't know, it's Ghastly Waves and Shattered Graves or Battered Graves.
So what, Under the Guillotine was the first one, or the
Guillotine? Yep, that was their first one.
Dude, and they're relentless. They haven't let up. They still are just right there.
They kind of remind me of another band called Evil Survives. They have the same vibe, but yeah, ripping speed metal.
Yep, love it.
I put the link to that. I put the link to that Bride album. It's on sale. The reissue is over at Boone's Overstock. So if anybody wants it, you got any more, Kev?
That's it.
Okay, Steve.
I got 2 more. I'm surprised I didn't show these 2 earlier. The first one is one of my favorite bands of all time. Their first record was more of a 70s hard rock. With this one, this is still in the 70s, but you kind of get a preview of what metal's going to sound like in the 80s because they already have that sound here. And it's Narita from the Mighty Ride.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely love this album.
Another band that kind of stepped up. They stepped up from being like a hard rock band to a metal band.
The first one was really good hard rock that still had that 70s sound, but this is, you get the shredding that you would hear from everybody 2 years later, Fantastic. And then we mentioned it earlier. I'm surprised I haven't seen much from about this in the Peanut Gallery. The first album was a perfect thrash album, but the songwriting I think was a little bit better on this. I actually like this better than the third album, which everybody thinks is the greatest album of all time. and it's Ride the Lightning.
Someone did mention that one in the
Dude, I had it
notes somewhere. Yep.
I thought for sure someone would pull it, and well, you did. But
Yeah,
once again, I think it's a better record than the first one, but it's the nostalgia part of it, I guess.
well, and for me, it's not even because I mean, I got into them. I got into them with Master of Puppets, so you would think I would like that one better. I actually like the first two better than Matt. Don't get me wrong, Master of Puppets is an amazing album. But man, those first two, the first one just perfect thrash, shorter songs, more to the point, more aggressive. The second one, again, better songwriting, longer songs, more progressive. I shouldn't say progressive, more technical. Just so good.
Yeah, Jason, we showed the Aerosmith right up at the beginning. I think it actually was the first one that we showed.
It was a pick of the week.
Yep. So yeah, that's a good one.
And
Yeah, you're getting a lot of.
I'm being
Another
accused-
person asked about Yes. Yes from UK prog band. I thought about that one too, and I definitely agree that was a big step up.
Yeah,
but their third album,
about that too. I just think.
But their third album was like
fourth album were
just so much better. That's why I didn't pick them, because the second album was better, but the third album was freaking brilliant, and the fourth album was brilliant. The fifth album was brilliant. So yeah, that's why I didn't pick Yes. But sorry about that. You got any more?
No, I've been accused about not picking one of our home buddies here, probably Hellstar, but
Hellstar.
I can't say that the second album's better than the first. They're kind of like you said about Iron Maiden, they're bookends.
That's kind of how I see it with Hellstar too. Those first two albums are just
they're fantastic, but
yeah.
I can't pick one over the other, so I didn't.
Twisted into Form better than Forbidden Evil?
No. Forbidden Evil rule.
I love both of those records.
And
I think those two are pretty equal, but they didn't hit a sophomore slump. I can say that. At least you can say they didn't.
But they hit a junior year slump. Good grief, with Distortion and Green.
I kind of like those too, but they're not the first two records.
Well, people like Load and Reload too from Metallica for different reasons, but they're,
You got to pass on the Hellstar.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Well, we're all big Hellstar fans here. When we did our perfect bands, I think didn't we pick it James Rivera as the vocalist?
Yeah, I think we did.
James Rivera is the perfect vocalist.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He should be up there in the echelons of Bruce Dickinson's and Rob Halford's and
Rob Rock should be up there too.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
If you ever have a chance,
two of the best frontmen of all time, James Rivera and Rob.
I was going to say, if you have a chance to see James Rivera's Judas Sabbath tribute, you need to go. He does everything from Ozzy to Dio era, and he does Priest, and it's outstanding. And he somehow he's able to lock it in, and it sounds great.
He can hit those King Diamond notes too.
Yeah,
I mean, he's so good.
So,
yep. I agree.
Anyway, that's a good place to end.
Over here. This is Abby. Hi, this is my youngest, and this is the one that likes to chew on my crap. This is the one that pisses me off.
This is the Kraftwerk second album. How can you tell? Because the cone's not orange, and it has a number 2 on it. Anyway, that's it for me.
Good. I like Kraftwerk. I know a lot of people don't. I get it.
The early stuff is like about 70s prog rock.
Yeah.
And then they went completely keyboards, abandoned drums, bass, and guitar, and went straight to keyboards.
I love Computer World. I thought that was a great album. Yeah. But I was playing Computer World one day, and my
Autobahn.
My at the time 20-something-year-old son walked in my room. He's like, "Dad, what are you playing? Music from a calculator or what?"
That's what they should have named that record, Music from a Calculator.
Yeah.
Right. Right on. Well, that's it for this edition. So we went a little over again, but that's all right. That was a fun one, and I think we didn't get a whole lot of pushback on anything we picked, so that's all good. But definitely appreciate everybody watching. We had quite a few people watching for a long time. Ooh, there's another couple good ones here. Yep. Fist definitely agree with Fog Hat too. Yep.
Grand Max.
Yep. Some good suggestions coming in here. So anyhow, so we'll just end it here. So actually, you can find Kevin at
YouTube. Kevin Cole is over YouTube and at Old Metal Rocker 66, and you can find me over on Facebook as well under Kevin Colhays.
You can find Steve at Steve.
Yeah, Harmless Rebel on YouTube. Harmless_Rebel. Man, I can't even say my name. Harmless_Rebel at Instagram.
Right on. You can find John.
Carcass John Art, and on 128 DB Rock.
Yep.
The Crypt and Carcass John's alter ego. Download the free app and tell all your friends to do the same and listen to some real metal.
If you guys want to hear, we always get requests, where's Rob Caldwell been? Well, that's where he's at. So if you want to hear Rob Caldwell, that's where he is. And
he does the afternoon show from 3 to 4 Central Standard Time, and I
every day.
It's actually pretty good.
Yep. And you can find me on Instagram at No Life Till Metal. You can find me on YouTube at Scott Waters and No Life Till Metal. You can find me pretty much everywhere. It's just type in No Life Till Metal or Scott Waters, and you'll find me in most of those formats. So anyhow, so that's it. Appreciate you all watching. Definitely appreciate all the comments and everybody. You know, I love when we have as many comments as we did today. So sorry, I got most of them up. Sorry I didn't get them all up. But so for episode number 276, you know how we do it. Metal will prevail.